Good morning, guys. South 7 Boys here. We are once again working on our 1986 Corolla AE86. In today's video, we're going to be trying to pull the whole rear axle out of the car. We've got a whole bunch of bushings to replace on this thing, and we are also going to be rebuilding the rear calipers while it's out of the car. The whole thing is just very crusty, needs a refresh, so we're going to try to clean this thing up, make it look pretty for next season. Stay tuned. So as a lot of you fellow Canadians might be aware, these cars get super crusty, and bushings are not an easy thing to replace, even on immaculate cars. I've got one of the pins here from the panhard bar, and you can see this bolt is just seized right in that sleeve. So what you can do to make this job easier, pick one of these up for yourself. It's not a tool that everybody's got around. It's kind of a precision instrument, but if you make the investment, it's really worth it to make the job easier.
You're going to want to make sure you're wearing your head-to-toe PPE, safety glasses, respirator, ear protection, and Crocs.
So I'm really not sure what the correct order of operations is going to be here. I've never done this before, but we've got four links to disconnect, as the name implies, uppers, lowers. We've got to disconnect the shocks over there, and we've got to disconnect the sway bar as well as the brake line. We've already got the panhard bar off mounts from here up to there. You can see the sawzall marks already. Basically none of this is going to be an easy job, so I think I've just got to kind of pick one and commit to it. Oh yeah, let's go. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, that is wonderful. Here we go. Now what am I doing?
ready.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, 1, 2. Oh, it's loose. Sweet.
Yep, it's out.
Okay. Okay guys, as you just saw, we pulled the rear axle out of the Corolla here. Here it is on some jack stands. We haven't done anything to clean it up so far. As you can see, super crusty, like everything is rusty. We're gonna try to clean all this crap off of here. Look at how much scale there is in here. It definitely needed to come off the car so we could clean it up a little bit better. So we've got rebuild kit for the rear calipers here. These brakes look kind of junk, but they're actually quite new. You can see some of the new material there. Somebody must have done rotors and pads on this thing before it got parked. We've got to take off the sway bar mounts to the axle, as well as these lower 4 links. We just left them on here because it's going to be easier to do it out of the car. I'm going to clean this whole thing up, paint it. We might rerun these brake lines because I don't know like how far they are from the axle. I'd like to tighten those up a little bit. Yeah, just gonna try to freshen this whole thing up, and we'll put her back in the car. All right, so we've got the axle all stripped down, all the rust cleaned up as best as we can get it. It's not perfect, but as you saw, or as you can see compared to earlier, it is significantly better. It cleaned up better than I expected it to. So we're gonna hit it with some Pour 15 now. I don't know if this surface is clean enough for that product, but we're gonna give it a shot. I've used it on the Datsun and it works really well. So gonna cut to that now. Alright guys, we've got the axle cleaned up back here. It's all painted, there's no more rust on it. So the next step is going to be running brake lines. This is the brake line that I pulled off of it and it's new. It's in fine shape, but it wasn't routed very cleanly on the axle. I'd like it to be a little bit more tidy and a little bit nicer bends and stuff like that. I've never actually done brake work before, so that's kind of a big, kind of high expectations for somebody that has no experience doing this, but we've got all the tools here and we're going to see if we can make something happen with it. Alright, I turned the camera off for a minute because I was getting super frustrated. I messed up the last brake line. The line slipped in the flaring clamp and it screwed up the flare. So I ended up having to redo the brake line, but I am way happier with how this one turned out. I'll bring you guys over here and show you how it looks. Screw in this end. Actually, this is my first test fit, so it'll be really embarrassing if this doesn't work. So the main concern was interference with the shock there. So this literally, it hits there, you tuck it underneath, and then it lines up just like so over here. Literally lined up well enough that I can thread that in by hand. And that's lined up perfectly for our little brake line clamp. Runs nice and parallel with the axle. It's actually not even hitting right here. Tucks underneath, but it doesn't contact at all. So I am super, super happy with how this turned out. Alright, so we've got this buttoned up now. I'm very happy with how this turned out. Got all new hardware on here. Nice little rubber insulators for the brake lines. I'll show you a little quick rundown of how it looks. Up and over. Pretty, this area is a little bit sloppy, but I'm pretty happy with it for never having done this before. Chased all these threads, nice new bolts and everything. Super happy with how good that all looks. Much tighter than it used to look. So I think the next step is basically going to be to swing this back under the car. So I filmed this video a couple months ago, just realized now that I never really filmed much of an outro, and the clips putting the axle back in the car are pretty spotty. So I just threw these quick clips in and doing a voiceover at the end here. Pressed all the bowstrings back in, put new shocks in, put all new hardware in, started buttoning everything back up. It all went together super smoothly. Everything's kind of a tight fit because all the new bushings were a lot thicker than the 40-year-old deteriorated bushings, but everything went together super well. It's all nice and tight, nice and clean. It was a very satisfying job overall. AE86 has its first track day in a couple of days, so hopefully you guys tune back into the channel for that video. If you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.